All right, guys, welcome to the first episode, the inaugural episode of Bird of Rights. This channel, I just really quick, real background, is something I wanted to do for a long time, just to basically somebody regular like me likes to game, likes to watch movies, have a full time job, someone just enjoys simple things in life, kind of brings facts forth and tries to not educate, but bring into light a lot of things that we actually don't think about or maybe don't think it pertains to us in such a big way. But anyway, today I'm bringing in a very simple topic, which there's actually a lot of controversy going on with it, especially now with the reach that it has. And it's basically Chinese culture or Chinese censorship, I should say, and how it encroaches in our American values, right? So that's basically what I want to talk about today. And I picked four different places where it really stands out. One of them would be movies, Hollywood media. The other one would be like sports. I know it's not a big of deal, but sports actually it's really hurting us in a big way. Um, Games. The gaming industry is actually quite enthralled in it. And lastly, social media. Okay. And without further ado, here we go. Let's just keep the ball rolling here. Let's start with Hollywood, right? So one thing that we actually don't understand or we don't realize a lot of times is that we as Americans, we're the minority. The Chinese market is gigantic, and any studio, any Hollywood movie would make changes to their I don't know, whatever their screen cast, their casting, or maybe their what do you call it, their whatever the story of the show is, or scenes of the movie. They'll change it if they need to. If the Chinese government doesn't want specific things, they'll change it so they can show it over there. Why? Because there are like 2 billion people in China, where as in the US there's only like 350 million, which is a gigantic disparity when it comes to people. And they make money over there. They make a huge amount of money over there. And why wouldn't they change a scene here or write something else here or whatever the issue is? Why wouldn't they do it, right? It makes perfect sense. I, as a business owner, would do it, so why wouldn't they? Anyway, let's look at a few things here. Let's look at a few things here. Here from the Guardian, basically, it says right here, they actually want Hollywood studios to commit to publicly share the information of what it was requested of them to be censored, whether it be from Chinese government or another government. Basically, like, they want to see what regulations they put on the film or the industry to see the requirements of them putting it out there, right? So that'd be one of them. But in 2019, here we go, American films made over 2.6 billion in China alone, and not necessarily with the whole movie industry, just with like these movies here. Apparently, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. They made more money over there than they did here, and that's huge, right? I mean, Avengers Endgame, huge movie, gigantic movie, but again, as I said here, it made way more money over there than it did here. Is that a surprising to anybody? It's not to me, but obviously, I'm sure people didn't realize that. I mean, just the newest movie, Mulan, came out last month or this month. I don't remember. The days blur in together. But they literally made a movie that the Chinese government approved. The CCP, which is the government in China, they said, we don't want certain things in this movie because it's unrealistic, or the Chinese people, and I put that in quotes, Chinese people, because to them, they speak for the Chinese people. Whether they do it or not, that's a different story. But in their mind, that's the way they take it, right? So, they didn't want Mushu in there, the dragon in there, because they said they didn't want they didn't want a figure like that to be perceived. That's not, the Chinese people didn't like that because of the perceived notion that it was like Mushu was like a funny dragon, a wimp dragon. It was like a tiny one, small one, and the people of China said, no, dragons are majestic and fierce, and they're revered in China, so we don't want that. So they took that out. To couple away with, in the credits, they literally thanked the wardens of the concentration camps that they have over there for a certain type of people, which the U.S. doesn't know, or the vast majority of the U.S. doesn't know. They think that everything's fine and dandy, but yeah, there's concentration camps happening over there. That's a topic for another video now. But so, the changes in movies, right? It doesn't seem like a big deal. They're like, oh, just a movie, who cares? But again, they're changing the way some screenwriters probably make a movie, and then they're like, oh, here's the movie. They give the script, but then they're like, no, we don't like it. We don't want that. Let's change it. And they change it. Okay, what are you going to do, right? So that's one. I personally believe that they shouldn't, and if they don't want to show it over there, so what? But again, money talks, and they're not going to walk away. They're not going to walk away from $2.6 billion for 3 movies. That's not even the whole industry as a whole. That's just 3 movies, right? That's a huge amount. So let's move on. The second place, sports. So last year there was this really big controversy where, again, this is from The Guardian as well, where I think the manager for the Houston Rockets, I believe, said something about how they support Hong Kong. If you don't know about the Hong Kong riots, they're still going on. It's been like over a year now that they've been doing it, and you barely hear from them anymore. You don't really hear from them on the news, social media. They're basically disappeared into obscurity by now, but they're still going on. Anyway, so the Houston Rockets general manager, Daryl Morey, whatever his name, I can't pronounce it. He tweeted that they stood with Hong Kong. He stood with Hong Kong. And just as quickly, the Houston Rockets main account said, we don't share those values. We don't share what he shares. We don't believe that. Why? Well, the NBA is actually huge in China. And as soon as this tweet went up, I believe, because over there, the rights to show the games is, everything's state owned. Everything, all the companies with television, factories, whatever, they're owned by the government, right? So the section or the TV station that basically got the rights to it stopped, canceled it. The shopping or the merchants that had the rights to sell the merch basically cut ties immediately. So think about it. They literally said, okay, you support Hong Kong, the place that we want to take over because we don't believe in freedom. We're not going to allow you to sell, show, or anything of the NBA over there. Do you think the NBA is going to like that? No, that's a huge amount of money. Again, there's 2 billion people over there. They buy in the U.S. Not everybody buys jerseys, but let's say everybody in the U.S. bought a jersey for $60, right? Which there might be more, but let's say $60. That's 350 million people for $60. Now let's say in China, everybody bought a jersey for $30. That's 2 billion. Probably for less, $15. It would still be more money coming from those people that bought the shirt for cheaper than from the U.S. Of course, very generalization of the way shopping goes, but that's basically how it is, right? So think about that. They're not going to lose. They don't want to lose that. Plus advertising from commercials, from the games. It's huge. So we as Americans can't. Our companies, the NFL. Sorry, not the NFL. The NBA can't even promote fairness, freedom. Can't support a cause because they don't want to lose their sales in China. Think about that. The next topic, gaming, right? Gaming, video games. So this comes from a PC Gamer, right? And again, this is old news. I'm just basically, it's August 9th, so it's not that old, but there's this company called Tencent. They're basically a Chinese gaming company, and that they spend a lot of money in the US. So we're going to talk about a few games here. Riot Games. They're 100% owned by them, right? They're the League of Legends people, which is incredibly popular here in the US and abroad as well, right? Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite, 40%. They own 40%. And again, I just want to make sure and emphasize that the reason this is very important is because, yes, they're a Chinese company. So what, right? No. Chinese companies are owned by the government. We have to understand the simple fact that Chinese companies are not self-owned. They're not owned by people. They're owned by the government. And that's the problem. At the end of the day, the government can use those companies to assert or change or ban or whatever the case is. They can use these companies to change the way we think, to change the way we do things. Look, Epic Games. Imagine they said, okay, you want to show your game somewhere else? You can't do this. You can't do that. You have to change this. You have to change that. So even the developer that they want to bring out a game, They can't do it. Just like the movies, they want to put out a movie, but they can't because they don't want that, they don't want this, change this, let's put this in there, oh, don't do that. So there's all these like bridges, and they have to cross to even get something greenlit over there. That's the problem, right? Bluehole, which PUBG 11.5%, Ubisoft 5%, Activision Blizzard 5%. Oh, and Activision Blizzard, same thing happened. There was this guy who plays in a tournament. It was a Hearthstone tournament, and he won. And when he won, he put up a poster saying, "I support Hong Kong." Well, not only did he get banned, but so did the commentators. It was this huge debacle. The commentators, imagine the commentators had nothing to do with it. They were ducking underneath the monitors because they didn't want to be seen. They didn't want to be seen. Can you believe that? They did not want to be seen. That's crazy. So that's one. Path of Exile is a big game on Steam, 80%. And then other investments, they're just smaller companies. But the big one here that I want to show you is Discord. Discord has become synonymous with the gaming world. Everybody has a Discord. Everyone, companies, like I know there's a lot of people that do podcasts. They have Discords. I'm probably going to stop Discord just because I want to do some streaming. So I'm probably going to have to do some Discord here and there. There's just so much money that's gone into all these different things that we just don't understand what it could do. We just don't get it, right? They could be. Think about it. Discord provides such a huge service. They provide friends list, shopping. You can do channels. They can do so much. The list is endless for free. How can it be free? Maybe I'm just cynical, but think about it. It's one of those things where a lot of traffic goes through there. Your shopping habits, a lot of information, videos, your voice. A lot of this stuff could be sold. It's a Chinese. Think about it. Why would they give Discord 158 million? Think about that, right? Think about that. That's very important to think about because I don't know. Anyway, last one. Social media, right? I know TikTok is a huge thing here in the U.S. and more so because technically it's banned since last Sunday or today. Actually, today is banned since today, right? Today is the day it's banned. So my question is this: I don't know how trustworthy this is, but I read this in other trustworthy sites where this one's called Board Panda. That's the website, boardpanda.com. A guy reversed engineered TikTok. He basically took it apart, the source code and everything. And he said he personally, here's what he said. So I can personally weigh in on this. I reverse engineered the app and feel that I have a very strong understanding of how the app operates, works, etc. At least as of a few months ago. I don't think they've changed it, but basically TikTok's it's a data collection service that is thinly veiled as a social network. If there is an API to information on you, your contacts, your device, well, they're using it. So basically what he's saying is that your TikTok, not only can you post videos on it, but it knows your contacts. Like it basically takes over your device. It has location data, what you're doing. Look at that phone hardware, CPU type, like all the screen dimensions, memory usage, disk space, other apps that you've installed, everything network related, your IP, your local IP, your router, Wi-Fi access point. Some areas of app has GPS ping enabled. So they set up a logo program that you're gonna. Okay, so not only that, but look, they're logging all this. And they can remotely configure your app to basically do what they want you to do, like basically spy on you however they want to. What does this matter, right? So you say, well, phone hardware, who cares? I don't care if they know what phone I have. Oh, what other apps? Oh, I don't care what other apps I have. Who cares? But, and again, this is very important, but I'm gonna let it go for now. But everything network related, they can see your IP address. So basically they know they can hack you. They know where, with your IP and local IP, they can basically trace where you are in the world. With other apps installed, if they see what other apps you have installed, they can literally create apps that are going to be something you want to download, and they use it for your more spying, I should say. Hardware, phone, CPU type, all that stuff. That's important because they can actually make a competitor for cheaper to sway you away from Apple or Samsung or Motorola, whoever you buy your phones from. But I mean, look at this stuff, right? So this is just how many people use TikTok. It's a huge service, huge. So with this, they know exactly what you want, what you're doing, who your friends are, where you're at all times. I mean, that information costs millions of dollars for a lot of companies, right? And that's the problem. This is the problem. With this, they can literally see what you're doing and they can come up with ways to violate your rights, right? Okay, so those are the main things that I've noticed, right? So now you say to yourself, well, how can I change anything? How can I prevent this? How can I change or fight so not everything is like this? Well, it's impossible, right? It's impossible. I can pick up a bunch of stuff that I have here and I guarantee you it says made in China. It's impossible to not have something that's not made. That's what they make stuff, sadly. But let's talk about this. Let's say, like, for me, gaming's huge. So Activision Blizzard, they banned all these people for supporting Hong Kong. They also own Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty's huge. I bet you everybody, when that game came out, nobody thought twice to buying it. They bought it. Who cares? They bought that game. No big deal. I didn't buy it. I said, you know what? I'm going to wait for it. I'm going to wait 6 months, whatever. I know it's hard to wait, but that's what I said I was going to do. And I waited. That's the best way to vote with your money, with your dollars. Apple makes stuff in China. All their phones are made in China with at the lowest bidder. Maybe don't upgrade every year. Don't upgrade every 6 months. I mean, I don't know how else to tell you to fight back. If the NBA is willing to bow down to China, let's not watch him for a year. As a country, let's be like, oh well, you're an American company that doesn't believe in American values. Why should we support you? But of course, nobody's gonna want to miss their games, right? The biggest one was when the Black Lives Matters movement started and Activision put their thing on Call of Duty. Were like, oh, here Activision believe all this and BLM and blah blah blah. Great, but they're banning people who support equal rights somewhere else, freedom somewhere else. They're banning those people. So it's all, everybody's a hypocrite. There is no way to just stop and not support this company. Like, it's impossible to just stop. But I think we can make differences by just cutting back, voting with our dollars. Don't spend too much money on these companies who really don't care about us. They care about money, right? At the end of the day, I mean, the NBA, that's what's more American than the NBA, right? And they rather bow down to China than to uphold American values. Come on. So I'll leave you with this. This is just, I know this is very quick. I don't want to make the video too long, but I just want you guys to understand where we at as a country, where we at as a society, how we are letting a communist country dictate how we see and how we make and how we deal with certain things. Maybe it's not that big of a deal right now, but if it keeps going this way in 2, 3, 5, 20 years, it'll be a different story. So with that, I'll leave you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with more. Till next time, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.